China's property giant Evergrande is delisted from the Hong Kong market on Monday, which is seen as the end of China's real estate bubble. Can you walk us through why this happened as part of the country's property crisis?
I would say that over the past 1 decade, we have seen this massive ballooning size of the China's property market, and a large part of it's really fueled by the leverage by developers and households. So back in August 2020, the Chinese government issued a regulation called the Free Red Line, which basically tried to curb all this leverage behavior that the developers have. So the consequence is that in the next year, many developers, they are not able to get enough liquidity to fund their operation. First, because they are highly leveraged, so they need all this money to repay the debt that it's hard for them to borrow further. Second, it's also a market that's very reliant on pre-sales home, which means that home buyers would pay upfront for their unit before it even completed. And then the confidence has lost, and therefore developers are actually facing all these two problems at the same time. Evergrande is a landmark case because it is indeed really the biggest developer in China. It's not being able to survive. It has gone through processes in not being able to issue audit statement. The court has ordered it to liquidate the assets. It's still undergoing a restructuring process that we are not so sure what is the outcome.
How does Evergrande's collapse affect China's broader economy, and where does China stand now?
If you look at how important real estate is to the Chinese economy in the past, it can be estimated to around 25 to 30%, which is indeed a very big part of the economy. So this number doesn't really only include the direct home sales on the construction activities, but it's really the broad impact that when there is a unit being completed and when household buy all this unit, there will be other related expenses, consumption, investment, etc. So what we see so far is that we haven't really seen a very sharp rebound in home sales so far. There has been many policies being rolled out, but the effectiveness hasn't been that strong because households remain rather not so confident in the future anticipation of the home prices. So therefore, they're not really buying.
How is China moving on from the property crisis? Is it on a positive or negative trajectory in the long run? And in terms of finding new sources of growth?
I would say that there has been many policies being rolled out trying to divert the pressure from real estate and like trying to offset it with other development with different sectors. Indeed, we have seen some new growth sector in maybe example is electric vehicles. China has been also quite good in producing all these green technologies such as solar panels and wind turbines. And there is also a gradual shift towards all this internet platform, digitalization, and all this kind of tech-related sectors. But the problem is that when you look at the sum of all these sectors, it's really quite hard to argue that it can really offset such a large part of the economy, which is almost a quarter of it. So I think this is why the likely outcome is that we will continue to see the deceleration on the macro growth being dragged by what we see in the real estate sector. All these other tech-related sectors may provide some buffer, but this is just not big enough to really help on the macro picture, and it can really stabilize it.